Hello and welcome to my studio. We are going to draw an object today using everything that we've learned so far. We need to use contour line, we need to use shape, form, value, texture, and all of that. So let's draw a real object. I have mine taped up here to my paper because I'm going to draw this brush. We'll see what it looks like. I'm going to use charcoal on charcoal pad. I have 19 by 24 paper here. You don't have to have 19 by 24. Now, please understand that I am off to the side over here. Normally, I sit right in front of my drawing, but for camera purposes, I have to sit over to the side. So I'm going to work on a contour line first. Yes, you can start with an outline as long as you start blending later on to make it work. And I have a little less than 15 minutes here, so I'm going to go fast. So, see, I'm off to the side, but I just kind of have to look at an angle. So if it's off, you understand why. So let me just work on the handle. Give yourself a strong contour line. You're following that shape. Look at the actual object. Don't draw what you think it should be. Draw what you see. Now, if I were to fix this, this would probably be longer and this would probably be a little bit more maybe a little more slender. And then we have a hole here, or like if you hang the paintbrush up. And then, and proportionally, it'll probably need to come out more. And that's the part where I can't see because I'm off to the side. So y'all just work with me here and pretend that it's perfect. So we're just using contour line. I'm freestyling this. Not tracing, we're not gonna do any tracing. We're working on proportion. It might be a little bit too long there. And I need to get, my finger is smudging my charcoal. But that's okay because it's gonna be, so actually it's a little bit too long. All right, and if it's too long, we'll fix that too. But, so you got bristles. Now this is where you have to get your texture in there. You're gonna make it look like it's implied texture and not, well, you need to make it look like it's real texture, but it's actually implied texture. So I'm gonna look at the reflection that I have here. The handle is too long. I already know that. Now I am making this bigger. So it's not, I'm blowing it up, you know. So obviously the item is not that big, but I'm making it bigger because I'm working on a big piece of paper. So if you think about it, this brush takes up about almost a third of the object. So that's not enough. This, I already know, is too long because if you look at this part and this part, that's about the same. So my handle is too long. Technically what I should have done was probably cut it off around, maybe around here, or yeah, let's cut it off. Probably around, yeah, so probably around here. So what do you do if it's too long? I'm going to put that hole there, and then I can erase this or make it part of the background. So I can use my eraser. This is charcoal, so it's not going to erase like pencil. And then what I'll do is make that into my background. And then after we're all done, nobody will know that was a mistake or a misjudgment. All right, let's see if that's any better. Yeah, that's a little bit better. So I already know that that's going to be background. So why don't I just make that part of my drawing. Make your mistakes work for you. And that's the negative space thing that we talked about. Remember we learned about negative space? All right, so we'll go back into that a little bit later to fill out that background. Now, since we changed that, the handle is now wrong. And then I'll work on that. When I do my shading, that's going to go away. Let's see. Now, that's a little bit better. So I said that my bristles were about a third of this, a little bit less than a third. Probably need to go a little bit longer. All right, now I'm just going to do a very light contour line here because there's no line going across. All right, so now what I want to do is figure out my shading. And I'm noticing on this side, maybe let's flare it out a little bit more. All right, so if I look over here and if I look right here, then my darker areas are in different places. So I know that there's a, and I use charcoal like this just for the sake of time. I know that there's a darker area here in shadow, which is going to make that work. And let's say around here, you can go ahead and lay in your darks and your lights. And blend the rest. There's a line going across there. And there is, that's there. Now, then we have all these little lines in the metal part of the brush. You'll see what I'm doing in a minute. And the thing with using a soft piece of charcoal, you can blend it and shade and get that value in there, and it'll make your life a lot easier. But if you lay in where the dark areas are, leave the light areas, and then go back to them, then it'll be fine. And then I have some old paint down there at the bottom, and then you're gonna come up here with these little, we'll get to that in a minute. That texture, we talked about texture. I had to have a buckle in my paper, and that's gonna mess it all up, but don't worry about that. All right, so now what I wanna do is, oh, that's looking good. Okay, so you're implying that texture there. So I'm not even drawing each individual bristle, I am implying that texture. And then I can come in with a few little lines in there to give the suggestion of some bristles. Now, what I wanna do is, I've got 4 minutes. What can I do really fast? I have a blending stump. Let's use that. A blending stump is like a rolled up pressed paper that's rolled together and it's sharpened to a point. So I can blend all that, or you can leave it like it was. This is just for background's sake. There's nothing back there. It's just kind of like floating in the sky right now. But we don't want to take our time on this because I want to look at the object. So remember, I messed up over here, but I'm going to use that as part of my object. And I'm going to blend that in those areas in there of shadow just very quickly. And then, so once you start blending your hard contour outlines, your contour lines, your outlines should disappear. And this might be too dark, but that's okay. I'll come back in with a chamois. If you don't have a chamois, you can use a paper towel or some tissue or a Q-tip. And there's a little bit of darkness in there. So I've used so far line, value, shape, texture, no color right now. There's a couple little indentations there. And I'm actually just now drawing with my blending stump. You don't want to use your finger for blending. You have oils in your finger, in your hands, and over time, that acid will destroy your paper, destroy your painting. If it's paint, it'll destroy your artwork. So you don't want to use your bare hands, you don't want to use your bare fingers. So, and this brush has like all these little indentations on here. I don't have time for those small details right now with this very quick demo that I'm doing. But it does show some, there's a little design on the base of the brush. Now, and then, I can just give a suggestion of background. And then I need to come up here, and I have like 1 more minute. So this is the quickest drawing in the world right about now. And then I want to blend in some of that, like, so there's like old paint at the base of this brush. And then I don't want to blend this too much because I want it to look like that texture, but I want to go in the direction of the bristles. And then I can come over here on the side and be a little bit more defined there. I can be a little bit more defined here, and I can go and fill all that in. And we do a little bit on the top, and then we'll stop. You're just kind of giving it an impression of bristles. So you don't have to draw in every little piece of bristle. You can just kind of imply it. Okay, so I think we'll just kind of stop there for the sake of time, but you get the point. You want to, in this lesson, you want to use everything that we've learned so far. You want to use your line, shape, form, value, texture, and give yourself an object and make it three-dimensional. And I would need to spend a little bit more time down here in this area to make that look like it's part of the brush. And of course, I'm looking off to the side, so. Make that line disappear by applying your value. So that's just a little quick demo on combining all of your elements that we've learned so far, not counting color.